Imagine a nation grappling with instability, and then a major military power decides to withdraw. Sounds normal, right? But what happens when that army doesn't just leave, but also abandons a massive, intricately hidden arsenal, enough to equip an entire new army? That's exactly what happened in Burkina Faso. When the last French helicopters lifted off, they weren't just carrying soldiers. They left behind a shocking secret: tens of thousands of assault rifles, anti-tank missiles, state-of-the-art radar systems, and even NATO software-equipped drones, all scattered, buried in the dust. This isn't a scene from an action movie. This is the stark reality, and what you're about to discover will completely change how you view warfare, sovereignty, and the hidden agendas on the geopolitical map. Join me as we delve into the incredible story of how forgotten weapons became the fuse for an unprecedented revolution. Ouagadougou, 2025. When the final French helicopters lifted off the ground and disappeared into the Sahel sky, they weren't just carrying soldiers. They were carrying the last breath of an era. What they left behind, whether by negligence, strategy, or design, would soon become the fuel for a very different kind of revolution. An unexpected arsenal, a stunning revelation from the Sahel desert. Hidden in the dust and dry earth, buried in forgotten bases and remote hideouts, lay caches of weapons, a stockpile so massive that it stunned even seasoned officers of the Burkina Faso military. Assault rifles, anti-tank missiles, encrypted communication gear, high-precision sniper rifles, and pallets of ammunition. Left behind, or perhaps abandoned on purpose, as if the war they were meant for had never happened, or had just begun. We didn't expect this much. What they left behind wasn't just bullets. It was a war that never took place, said one senior military officer requesting anonymity. The numbers were staggering: nearly 30,000 rifles, over 1,200 rocket launchers, heavy artillery rounds, radar systems, drones with NATO software, and even explosive devices fit for sabotage operations. Some of the equipment bore markings from missions in Mali and Niger, places where Western forces had long operated under the pretense of counterterrorism. The sheer diversity and quantity of these weapons suggested a complex logistical plan, rather than a mere oversight. They included everything from individual firearms to sophisticated combat support systems, capable of significantly altering the balance of power in the region. As news of the abandoned stockpile spread, so did questions. Who left this behind, and why? Was this simply a logistical failure in the chaos of a fast withdrawal? Or were these weapons positioned for a different kind of battle, one yet to come? According to Dr. Alain Traoré, a regional security analyst based in Dakar, weapons don't get forgotten. They're stored, they're tracked, and they're transported with a purpose. If they're left behind, it's either by order or as part of a plan. Dr. Traoré's assertion resonated widely in the region, sparking intense debates about the true intentions behind France's actions. Was this a deliberate plot to maintain instability, providing an excuse for future intervention, or merely a severe misstep during a hurried withdrawal? Whatever the answer, it held profound implications for Burkina Faso's sovereignty and security. And what happened next shocked many observers. Instead of reporting the weapons to international agencies or returning them to Western donors, as was the norm, President Ibrahim Traoré made a bold decision. The arms would be seized, inventoried, and repurposed for national defense. In a public speech, he declared, "We will no longer borrow guns from those who once used them against us." This statement was not just an expression of confidence, but a powerful declaration of national sovereignty. It marked a fundamental shift in Burkina Faso's foreign policy, rejecting reliance on foreign powers and focusing on self-reliance. The weapons were not hidden in vaults or exported quietly. They were deployed. To the north, the borders, the villages where militants once roamed freely. Alongside this, Traoré launched a national mobilization. Over 15,000 local youth were recruited into newly trained defense forces, taught not only how to fire a rifle, but how to defend their own land on their own terms. The widespread participation of citizens in the defense force reflected a changing national spirit. From a nation plagued by internal conflicts and external interference, Burkina Faso was transforming into a self-reliant nation united to protect their territory. And yet, the French government remained silent. In a brief press conference in Paris, a defense spokesperson said only that the withdrawal had been coordinated and completed in accordance with local partners. But documents released by local media in Burkina Faso told a different story. Maps of weapons depots, satellite images of hidden caches, and first-hand reports all pointed to the same conclusion. These were not random leftovers. These were stockpiles. France's silence and the discrepancy between official statements and on-the-ground evidence deepened suspicion and fortified the belief among many Burkinabe citizens that France had an ulterior motive. A trap or an opportunity? Reshaping defense doctrine. Some saw it as a trap, a long fuse meant to ignite future chaos in the region. Others saw it as proof of carelessness. But in Ouagadougou, it became something else entirely, a strategic windfall. By reclaiming these weapons, Burkina Faso did more than arm itself. It began to rewire its entire defense doctrine. Gone was the dependency on foreign security contractors and endless peacekeeping missions that rarely brought peace. In their place, local command, local recruitment, local accountability. Guns no longer arrived on cargo planes from Paris. They were recovered from the sand, cleaned, and put into the hands of Burkina-based soldiers. One soldier, stationed near Kaya, put it bluntly. They left guns thinking we wouldn't know what to do with them. They were wrong. This simple statement reflected a massive shift in the perception and will of the Burkina Faso military. They no longer saw themselves as pawns on the chessboard of foreign powers, but as true defenders of their own country. This moment also sparked a wider conversation across Africa. On Pan-African news networks, analysts debated whether the forgotten weapons were an accident or a deliberate move. Could it be that foreign powers had hoped the weapons would fall into the wrong hands, giving them reason to return later under the flag of counterterrorism? But Traoré wasn't interested in that game. He refused to be baited. Instead, he focused on building something long denied to his country: true sovereignty. In interviews and briefings, members of Traoré's administration confirmed that many of the recovered weapons had already been repurposed for border defense. Civilian militias were being armed, not for a civil conflict, but for regional protection. Training programs, once reserved for elite forces under French command, were now being rolled out in provincial towns. New command centers, built with local materials and manned by local engineers, were quietly replacing the French-built outposts. The effect on morale has been seismic. Both the military and the populace felt an unprecedented wave of pride and confidence. This self-sufficiency in arms and defense brought in a new sense of dignity and independence. In the past, major military operations were decisions made in faraway capitals. But now, Burkina Faso is writing its own playbook. Soldiers, once underpaid and undertrained, are now being equipped with gear that just a year ago would have been deemed too advanced for the region. Across the country, young people are signing up not just for a paycheck, but for something far deeper: pride. They see an opportunity to contribute to building a strong, self-reliant nation. And the world is watching. Satellite images shared by international observers have confirmed large-scale redeployments of heavy weapons in the Sahel corridor, most of them under Burkinabe command. France, meanwhile, has kept diplomatic distance. There's been no official request for the return of any abandoned materiel, no inquiry into why or how it was left behind. This silence further amplifies questions about France's true intentions. But in Burkina Faso, the message is clear. What was left behind has now become the foundation of a new chapter. The weapons, once symbols of occupation, of dependency, of invisible wars, are now tools of liberation. One young soldier in the central region said it best: "We didn't ask for this fight, but now that we have the tools, will never be caught unprepared again. In a region haunted by neo-colonialism, foreign interference, and broken promises, this is more than a military story. It's the story of a nation rising from the ruins, armed not just with bullets, but with belief. And this time, no one's leaving it behind.